1975 to a Methodist family. So I was born and raised in a Methodist family in the middle of Illinois, in kind of a more rural area. Okay, not in a big city, in a small city. And so we attended the church regularly every Wednesday and Sunday. We do newsletters, and we're a very integral part of definitely the church society and whatnot. So I always grew up going to Sunday school and learning about God and learning about the Gospels and the Bible and whatnot. And then came the time basically for confirmation. So when you affirm your belief in God and belief in the religion that you've chosen, being Methodist and whatnot. So in the process of taking these confirmation classes, basically I got into a discussion with a pastor about just exactly the belief system. That's what we believe. This isn't a metaphor. This isn't figurative. This is truly, truly what you believe, that Jesus is God. And the pastor, of course, said yes. So then I remember after that class, then going with my mother and father home in the car and saying exactly the same thing to them. And so my mother turns around in the car and says, yeah, of course we believe this. You know, this is what we believe. This is what your grandmother believed and everything. What are you saying? And I'm like, well, I don't understand why Jesus, peace be upon him, would actually, you know, not say, I, Jesus, am God. And why does it have to be so abstract in the Bible? Why isn't there some exact phrase that just says, I, Jesus, am God, or some very clear way? And so from that point on, I always had some kind of doubt in my mind about, of course, Jesus being God, and I never really believed that Jesus was God. And so that was basically at the beginning of high school. So then after 4 years of high school and then 4 years of college, then I started to look or relook and rethink religions through again. That was the only thing. No matter what, I kept looking at it again and again and again. And everything that I read in the Quran, I believed. And everything I'd read in the Bible, I had some kind of issues with. And so basically, I couldn't deny it anymore. And I decided to become Muslim. So when I first became Muslim, that was like, it has to be one of the happiest days of my life. Okay? In that moment, it was a great source of happiness. And here in the States, when you become Muslim, what seems to be the trend is that that person that wants to become Muslim will go to the masjid on Friday for Friday prayers, and will stand up in front of the entire congregation and will declare their shahada. So you have plenty of witnesses and whatnot for everything. And so, though it's not necessarily required, that seems to be what we do here in the U.S. And so that moment was just amazing. I was trembling. I can remember barely being able to say it. You know, it was a very emotional experience. Immediately after, you know, every single person in the masjid, there was like nobody that left that masjid, you know, probably 500 people. Everybody came up and hugged me, shook my hand, cried. It was just a really great time. When I told my mother and father the decision that I had made and that I'd actually done it, this was a major problem. And so there was a period of about 2 weeks where they just wouldn't speak to me. And literally it was said to me that you're thrown out of the family. It was a very, very difficult time in my life.
I was working in a lab, and he used to come and borrow certain equipment from there. And he didn't actually know that I was Muslim because I wasn't outwardly Muslim. But at the time, he had started his faith journey and was studying Islam. And so when he found out I was Muslim, through conversation, he started asking me all these questions that I couldn't answer because I didn't know very much. So his questions pushed me to really go on my own faith journey and to say, okay, if I'm going to label myself a Muslim, then I better know what that means, and I better make sure that I have a conviction in that and choose it. So, you know, some people look at us and think, oh, did he become Muslim for you? And I actually tell people that he's the one that really pushed me to figure out what I believe. So it was very surprising and interesting to me, and very humbling to me, that this person who was, you know, born and raised in America and raised Christian was interested in the religion that I claimed. And that was another reason that kind of pushed me into starting to want to have answers, because if he actually knew more about Islam than me at that point.
And you wonder how far you can go. Every step on that road that you take, Allah